Welcome back to my Astro Imaging Journey channel. Today we're going to be doing a Q&A number 2, and I got a couple questions here that I'm going to read off. But first, I want to say thank you to all the subscribers that have, by default, subscribed. I appreciate, the confidence and your viewership. To everybody that's viewed my videos, appreciate it. It's good to see that what I'm doing is getting out there and hopefully it's helping somebody out. And to all you that have actually gotten any value out of what I put here, awesome. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. The first reason I'm doing this is obviously to pass on anything that I can, as far as where I've had issues, how I got through those issues, and ultimately what I did to fix them and get my process better. The other part that didn't initially hit me but came out after I started doing these things is it makes me really focus on what I'm doing and take that step-by-step approach to what I'm doing and getting my workflow narrowed down, and that's helped me out immensely, getting my stuff locked in and working a lot better. So thanks to each and every one of you. I really appreciate it. So first question I have here came on episode 10, and which was about SGP. And during that video I had mentioned I was using the StarSense, this little camera back here with the hand controller, and I thought because asks, I'm curious why you use StarSense after you aligned with the PoleMaster. Okay, so I kind of answered it in the question or in the comments, but I want to go a little bit deeper into it. First off, you're replacing the hand controller with the stock hand controller with the StarSense hand controller. So it came out after I posted that video in the comment that if you don't run the AutoAlign with the hand controller, SGP has an issue. It's like the hand controller is locked out for some reason for SGP. I can go into Stellarium, connect and slew and do everything I need to do, but it won't start guiding. It won't track the target that I'm pointed at. So that that's one issue. The second, so if I want to use anything automated like SGP or Stellarium, alright. One of my neighbors is having a little fun. To be young and stupid again, right? Anyways, so in order to be able to use any of the automated programs, SGP or anything like that, it's got to run. I could go back and put the original back on here now that I'm using the polar alignment and all that. Put the original hand controller back on here and it won't be a problem. The problem I have with that is that this is clearly not a static. It's not on a pier. If I'm getting a little weather or wind or rain, snow, whatever, I tear it down, I take it inside. Hopefully tonight will be the third night in a row. I polar aligned it once, and now hopefully tonight will be the third night in a row that I'll be able to get up in a imaging. But it is what it is. So I kind of leave that connected up because it's going to have to be powered off, tore down, taken inside, probably Tuesday, when, 2 days from now, the next time we're supposed to get some snow or rain. And at that point, after that, I'm going to have to do it again, and then I'm going to have to switch out the hand controller, and it's extra to the workflow that I don't need to add. The other thing it allows me to do is, while I'm out here doing the polar alignment and everything, the drift alignment, I can use the hand controller once this is done and slew to any target I want and get things ready. Point up there to Capella, do my initial calibration, go east of the meridian near the equator, find another bright star, do my drift alignment. As you probably saw in one of the other videos, you take your time with this. Drift alignment's not always needed, but it's always good to check. It's always good to check to make sure and make any adjustments you do need to make. So, that's another benefit of doing that, because I can just go in here in the hand controller, point at it, and be done with it. And then when I'm disconnecting the cable from the hub to the PC and plugging back in and going inside, because as we said in one of my setup videos, I do run this Ethernet cord inside so I can image from the warmth. I can point the hand controller, and let's say like tonight, my first target's going to be the Horsehead Nebula, B33, and so I can go in here, and if it's in there, I didn't check it last night, but if I was going through the normal process, I could go in there, point it to M103, B33, whatever I can, and that way, once I do get it hooked up, or hooked back up rather, the only thing I need to do is a quick autofocus routine, a recalibration on PhD, and then I don't have to wait that extra couple minutes after that for it to slew from Polaris over, or anything of that nature. It'll be right there, and in a few seconds it'll be frame and focus and rocking and rolling. So it's part of my workflow. I don't want to change out the hand controller, and since this hand controller is attached, the one that came with the StarSense, anything automated won't allow me to do anything unless it runs through the alignment procedure. So I hope that answers your question. I thought, because it is what it is. If I eventually get to a point where I do an enclosure around this thing, roll top or what have you, observatory, anything, where this will be static, and doing the polar alignment and all that, the StarSense, and that on a sometimes nightly basis will no longer be needed, because it will be static, then I might put the original hand controller back on it, and we can rock and roll from that point. But for now, it's part of my workflow. It's the way I do it. You do what works for you, and all's good. So question number 2 comes from episode 15, talking about the setup of the rig before. Greg Luch, I hope I pronounced that correctly, asks, I was watching your video and noticed that your knobs for your dovetail are on the opposite side of the mount from the hand control plug-in. I did this too when I had my CGEMII DX, and it caused a bit of an issue at one point. I think there is an arrow pointing towards the front of the mount on the top of the dovetail. Also, one of the tripod's legs should be under the counterweight for better stability, or so I've been told by several astronomers. Keep up the good work on these videos. Clear skies. All right, George. As I pointed out in the comment, you know, my reply, if you go back to the unboxing video, on the tripod, there's an index pin, you know, and that index pin fits in only one spot on the mount. So Celestron has deemed from the factory that the mount, these two legs being to the front, the single leg towards the rear, and the mount facing, you know, the motor's facing the direction they're facing. So that's the manufacturer. They lock that in with the index pin. I haven't taken the mount, you know, the motor assembly off the tripod to see if that peg is or that index pin is repositionable, but that's the way it came from the factory, so I assume that's the way they want me to set it up. Now to the weight distribution that you've been told by other astroimagers. If everything's perfectly imbalanced, RA and deck, your center of balance should be right in line with the top of your tripod. Okay, so I know some people will run a little bit heavier weight on the east side to help with guiding. All things being equal, if we're perfectly imbalanced, there should be no shift in weight forward or back, left or right. Therefore, all the weight should be evenly distributed on all three legs. You know, the center of balance is the key there. So if you're running a little bit forward on your weight or a little bit east on your weight, you need to make sure your legs are in the spots they need to be to compensate. I like to run mine as perfectly balanced as I can get it. Therefore, my center of weight, or yeah, center of gravity is over the center of the tripod. Therefore, you know, the orientation of the legs should not matter. The only reason it would matter, in my opinion, would be the angle of that front leg coming down. Okay? If it's coming down at an angle about like that, when any of the gear comes around, it potentially could hit this. Okay? We don't want that. Clearly, we don't want that. There are some flat spots on the back of these counterweights, so they don't, you know, they wouldn't hit it. But my camera sticks back there a bit, and if that came around and hit, you know, that'd be a bad day, or rather a bad night. Anyways, neighbor's dogs are having fun now. So one thing that I noticed the other day, you know, it was at the end of the session, and you know, I didn't have the park set properly in SGP. I had been playing around with some settings and had wanted to see if I could park it so that my counterweight, you know, the axis here, was perpendicular to the ground as opposed to, or excuse me, parallel to the ground as opposed to perpendicular like it is now. I wanted to do that for evaluation of the enclosure, see how much room I needed. I'm still not sure what I'm going to be doing with that yet. But anyways, I had reset the park to be in that position, and it tried to flip this way as opposed to that way. Okay, you know, clockwise as opposed to counterclockwise as I'm looking at it here, west versus east. So what happened was this was pointing near straight up and all the way down. This thing was about like that, and it was at a hard stop. Okay, that's another nice thing about the CGEMII here, is that when it comes time for that meridian flip and that OTA is sitting here about like that and tracking, it can actually track a lot further than just a degree or two. I want to say it's like 10 degrees, they say, but it is what it is, you know. So the CGEMII that you had may have been set up a little bit differently, but for the CGEMII, you know, this is the way it came from the factory. This was the setup that they had with the index pin and all that. So I hope that it helps clear some of that stuff up for you and explain it a little bit better. So with that, I'm going to get this ready for tonight's imaging session. Some clouds have moved in, but according to the website there, it's supposed to clear up here in a couple hours. So we'll be crossing our fingers. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this thing ready. And oh, one other thing I wanted to point out in response to I thought because there was, I left this, you probably see here in the video, I got the red power light on, okay? I did not power down the mount this morning, okay? Part of my routine on these multi-night, multi-session nights, or excuse me, multi-night setups was to disconnect power, let everything power down, and then go through my whole setup routine. So, you know, that means that the hand controller lost power, mount lost power, therefore it lost all the settings from the StarSense. Last night, or yesterday, I didn't do that. Okay, I left it powered on, I turned my dew heaters off, I turned my camera off, you know, but I left power to the mount and therefore the hand controller. And what that allowed me to do is just fire right up. I'm already polar aligned from the night before. I already know it's good. All I had to do was flew over, make sure my drift was still good, turn the rest of my gear, you know, at that point all my gear's on, obviously. But the mount had power, and therefore it kept the settings from the StarSense from the night before, and we're rocking and rolling. So, you know, I didn't have to waste time going through that process in the startup routine on the workflow there. So, you know, so again today I didn't power it off. I've already plugged everything back on. I still have to turn the camera on later. But, you know, I'm getting the dew heaters warmed up. Everything's about ready to go here. So I just got to take my covers off, get my dew shield on, and I'll be ready to go tonight. So, you know, anybody else has any questions, feel free to leave me a comment. You know, I'll answer what I can in the comments, and you know, maybe we'll get to Q&A number 3. And you know, love doing this thing, love this hobby. You know, again, appreciate each and every one of you that's you know, subscribed, watched, liked the videos. Can't say enough. Appreciate each and every one of you. And with that, I'm going to wish you a good rest of your day. I will see you later, and clear skies.